Oh, we are live. Okay, well, um, I don't know how many. I mean, if you're gonna have, oh, there, look at that. Hi, Alex. I don't know if people can hear. Can you? You can hear me, right? Because I am
Oh, me,
not really
I can
capable
hear
of
you. Yeah,
shouting. What?
loud and clear. Everything sounds great.
Oh, okay, awesome. So I just I'm telling you that my throat doesn't hurt. It's just the voice that I still have.
So you're
Wait a
still
second.
getting
It
over
doesn't
virus
hurt anymore.
too.
What?
So you're still getting over virus too then.
Yeah, I was sick like a dog last week.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
but the picture that you sent me actually, made me like feel thankful that I got through it
Oh, yeah.
easy
Yeah, it's
compared
been
to.
rough. We were at the hospital all night. My son took a turn for the worse. Which I've never seen this before, but his whole face just started swelling. He's 14 years
Oh
old.
my God.
And
Oh,
parentitis, it's common with the mumps. It's not common with influenza A, but he is a lucky contestant and he won the prize. So it's viral, it's not bacterial, so it'll go away. They gave him some steroids and it'll last for 3 days. So it'll take care of it. It'll help the swelling go down and he'll be able to eat again. And yeah, it's just, we've been through it with this flu. It's been something.
oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. This, what I had was, what we had here was very aggressive.
Mm,
So
makes you thankful
yeah,
for your health,
my
right?
voice, we say that is worse than it was before, but
Oh, well, you sound lovely to me, and I think you have a
what?
beautiful voice.
Yeah. I prepared with water and tea here. And then, I have these, uh, mint strips that I prefer because I don't want to have cough drops and stuff. It's just like loads of
Ah,
sugar. I drink the tea like just without sugar, without anything. I
mm,
think I had probably like about 10 gallons of tea just in
ooh,
home. I don't know.
jeez. Well,
But
that's a good way to do it. You want the hydration to flush everything out, and
yeah, but
tea's
I
real
did
good
it
for you.
for the warmth of it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very good for it.
So,
It helps.
but
Yeah.
anyhow, I think I should pick on that agenda that I
Yeah, I hope
put
I am
forward.
awake enough to do it. We're a little delayed
Oh
here this
yeah,
morning.
like
I
you
wanna
cannot go wrong with.
own that accountability because I barely slept.
It's okay. We can go
Yeah,
through
I'm
it
sorry
together.
about that.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that you joined because I understand that either you. I was actually having a little chat with Patricia just a few minutes ago, and I said that like when it happens, and like after like half an hour, you can wake up easy. I mean, that's
Mhm.
the case with me. But if you go through that like a little more time, then you fall into a deeper sleep.
Right.
Then there's
Yeah.
no way to wake up until like you're
Yeah.
ready.
That's
So
true.
um, I'm trying to find that little crutch here that I'm not prepared to either, at all. But what the idea was um, to ask you about womanhood. What do you think about it? How did you see it as a kid when you were growing up? You were growing up north, right? And I
Right. New Hampshire.
in the south of the country. And so, like, um, is it different than you imagined it was going to be? Like when you were a kid, when you were little,
Mhm.
how were your Decembers? Like you had snow, you have siblings, right? Or no?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, my father was a police officer, and my mom stayed home with us as kids when we were little. I
Mm,
lived in New Hampshire, and we lived in a small town, and we had a small farm. Well, small. We had about 20 something acres of land, and most of
but
it were trees. We had a lot of forest,
okay.
and we had maybe I'm guessing this is from a child's perspective because I don't know. Maybe 3 acres or so cleared, and the rest was all trees. And so we had sheep and chickens and rabbits and a whole bunch of animals.
Okay.
Mostly sheep and chickens. And so the winters were New Hampshire winters, New England winters. It snowed a lot, it got cold. And my mom did a lot of the housework, a lot of the farm work, feeding the animals, getting up early, taking care of the
Mhm.
kids. My dad, as I said, was a police officer, so, he worked odd hours, slept odd hours, was, home, infrequently, he had to work a lot, and my mom just kinda did it all. And, then she really wanted to work too, but, we and she needed to. That's how money works, that's how the world works, right?
Right.
We all need to work, so
Yeah.
as soon as my youngest brother I have 2 younger brothers. As soon as my
Mhm.
youngest brother started school, she went back to work. So I saw her this is kind of proving to be useful, insightful for me here too as I'm talking,
Mhm.
noticing a pattern. But yeah, as soon as he started school, she went back to work, but she continued to carry the load. She continued to take care of the animals, and she's
Mhm.
always had a beautiful garden. She had a huge garden, and she loved it. That was her joy. That was really her
Mhm.
passion. And she spent so much time in her garden taking care of it and producing vegetables. That was her main thing. Not really flower. I mean, she had some flowers, and she would tend to some flowers in front of the house to make it look nice and everything, but her passion was really the vegetables, and she just had
Okay.
everything. I mean, cucumbers and green beans and tomatoes and chives and just everything. And, we would, as kids, just go out there and snack out on them. And, now, like, kids will go to the cupboard and get some kind of sugary thing, right? But for
Mhm.
us growing up, that's what we did. We would go pick something and eat it and just run around in the backyard. And that was just our day to day, even in
You
the
wrote a
winter.
poem. When was it? Like a couple of weeks ago that I liked very much. About that, right? That's how you lived in the farm, on the farm, I think.
Mhm.
And but that was not really a wintry poem, was it?
Yes.
But wait, was it?
Well, do you mean The Flutter of the Fly? That one?
Oh, um, hi Emma. Okay, just watch the road. You're not gonna
Careful
say
driving and
anything,
listening. I hear that too
anything that yeah, that will make you put you in danger. Okay.
much.
um, I can't remember. Unfortunately, I should have looked it up, but I was um not I was doing something else last night, not really spending time on Substack. And but anyway, that I remember seeing your cute little poem, and I really encourage you guys to go and check out her handle. She what is it? Your publication called?
Threads of the Tapestry.
Yes, and so this is Michelle Ried here. Read, read or read,
Read. Yeah.
read. Okay, sorry. So and so she has a very interesting background. At least for me, it sounds very interesting because I come from a small town, and then there were like big lots there, but the neighbors were right next door. So it's like um, I don't know. Uh, 20 meters wide
Where was
property and
this that you grew up?
in Hungary,
Ah,
southeastern Hungary. So the properties there were like, I don't know, 20 meters. I don't know if it tells you anything. The yard is 90 centimeters. So like add maybe about like this much to it and then that's a meter. Um, so we had a big property and with trees and animals, of course, and
mm,
then there is like a lot of farming. There was a lot of farming going on there, but more like not so much private, but more like companies. When I was little, but there were some people that there was this guy who had like a lot of cows, and our house was for a long time the last one on the street.
ah,
And there was this old woman watching the animals, not to get into certain places or not to walk on private property there. And so she was watching the cows. and I made friends with her. She was like around 70, 80 years old, and I was about 5 or 6, but I still remember talking with
Oh,
her. And yeah, and she had the same pattern skirt that I had, and we bonded over that kind of
oh,
thing.
that's sweet.
It is silly, but so I come from a small town where, the animals were also present. So
Mm.
it's like I know what a chicken is, and
Yeah.
and pigs and cows and sheep and
You
stuff.
know,
But
it just makes me think it speaks to presence so much. And I'm not anti-technology by any means. I mean, I owned a technology company for a little while before I started my
mhm,
current job. And so I'm certainly not anti-technology at all. I think it's a wonderful, we're using it right now, and it's connecting us.
yeah,
But it's just when you do things like, when you grow up on a farm and you're
mm,
talking about having the same skirt and connecting with someone 3 times your age, maybe. And
or more,
the things, yeah, or more.
or
The
more.
things that bond us, that bring presence, that connect us, and there's just such an authenticity there. Things that I feel like are really hard to match online, and it's nice that we have this. It's kind of a starter, but
Yeah,
it's just not the same. There's a richness to being together in person, and I think we saw a little bit of that, or we noticed maybe in a deeper way during COVID because we were all starved for it, and now that we're all starting to come back together and see each other in person more, we feel it more. I mean, I think a lot of us are starting to value presence and authenticity more than ever. I'm seeing a flourish of art because of it too. People are writing more and creating more and doing more. At least in my circles, I see it
yeah,
because I think it was just missed. It was lacking, and I mean, things tend to come and go in those cycles anyway. Where handmade presents and things will go away for a while, and the less expensive, cheap kind of knockoff things will pick up for a while, and nobody is interested in doing the handmade things, and then they'll cycle back in again. It becomes in style and stuff, but so that's natural. That's a rhythm anyway. I know, but I also think when we miss it and we realize what we're missing, we tend to flock back to it, and I see it heading in that direction.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, um, I noticed because I moved away from home, and I noticed that there is I'm kind of more trying to hold on to things that I was taking for granted when I left
Mhm.
home. So one of those things is language,
Mm,
and then there were certain um, not so much traditions, but the fact that I lived in different countries than where I grew up, and it was my choice. It was not, I was not told to go. I wanted to go, and wherever I was, it was my decision or my choice. But when I was away, I noticed that I was holding on to those things that meant familiarity. And then
right.
I wanted my daughter to speak the language that I grew up speaking. And I wanted her to be able to understand and read the poems, that I read and I found joy in reading. Or if she wanted to ever pick up a literature, a book, a novel,
Mm,
and then wanted to read it, she should be able to do it. Or, I craved cakes or like pastries or, baked goods while I was
mm,
in the UK, and I couldn't find that in the store. I
mhm.
mean, you couldn't really
Tradition.
find those things even back home in the store because, like, just nothing is going to match your um, home cooked meals or your home cooked baked things.
Mhm.
And so I started doing that, and like I started collecting recipes and things like that. So, but I noticed that when I went home, and then that is not something that people at home understand because they still take it for granted.
Oh, for sure, yeah,
So
there's depth in tradition, I
they
think.
don't understand why is that I am like I was told that you left, so why do you care?
Mm,
And because I left, I care more,
sure,
if it makes
yeah.
sense.
Yes, it does. It certainly does, of course.
So, but but going back to the technology thing, that this live, for example, I think the point is here is to you know it's um as it what's her name. Anyway, there's a woman who wrote a poem. She mentioned that how one woman can have like 100 or I don't know how many faces during her life,
Mm,
and then how many, like how many. I noticed too that I am too more than one person, like
that's
one
right.
face or one person. Like I don't know what the
Iterations.
personality is like. Has so many different. We have so many different faces, right?
Mhm. Oh, we have to.
And that is changing over time. And so, like when we grow up, we have like
Mm,
a basis, something to work with, and
mhm.
we are like what we are as kids. But as we grow up and experience different things,
I
we
mean, I
change
think that's the whole point of life is to
and
learn and
and
transform and grow and to continue the
yes.
cycles and
So
emerge.
this whole life thing, what I hope this to become is like while we have conversations, that it is the fact that I am talking to you is opening up a window to see in your eyes, to see through your eyes how it was for you being a girl and growing up and then joining the Navy, right? And then, I don't know, going to different places through that experience and seeing the world through your eyes while you were serving. And then after, like getting married, having kids, having a career, different kind of like technology field. And now you work at a university, right?
Yeah.
University library, and you are some head over there, right? And or in a leading position, very busy, and then you are also studying, right?
Mhm.
So, what is the most profound change that you've seen um, over the course of your life, something that, like, that stands out for you as a woman, or something that you had, like a challenge that you had,
Yeah.
that you think it's worth mentioning?
No, absolutely. I'm trying to I know what it is. I'm trying to think of how to say it though. Um, growing up, um, I'm gonna have to unpack it a little bit. So I'll
Hmm.
start here.
It's okay.
Growing up, where I did, I think it was there was a lot of privilege involved. I enjoyed it. It was beautiful. But it was also limiting in a lot of ways because there wasn't a lot of diversity. Um, it's very very white, at least
Hmm.
at the time, and um, maybe that area's grown now. I don't, I've lived here for about 20 years now, and I'm in Texas now, in
Hmm.
the Dallas area. Um, but and you don't know what you don't know. And if you haven't met people who are different from you or significantly different from you, it's hard to really, um, even if you care, even if you want to know, it's hard to really connect and feel compassion and understanding for people in a real way, unless you've sat with them and you've seen their life and you've heard them and you've been touched by them. Again, it's that presence. You need to
Hmm.
be touched by someone's presence, I think, to understand in that kind of way, to have that depth. And I didn't have that depth. I didn't have that understanding. And so even then, I was young and I was limited in my perspective, and so a lot of things would be like, "Yeah, why don't they just do that?" Or why why doesn't a person pull themselves up by the bootstraps, quote unquote, or different perspectives and ideas along those kinds of, ways of thinking. And that's the way the people around me would think and the kinds of things they would say. And so once I joined the Navy and I traveled most of the country and um, I I ended up stationed here. So I went to boot camp in um, um, Chicago, of course, and then went to Mississippi for training. And then I was stationed in Virginia and I worked at a shore command. I worked for an admiral, and I worked for admiral. Well, several different admirals passed through my command. It started as Fleet Training Center, and then we um, merged two commands and became Naval Personnel Development Command. And it was a command that created the training that trained the trainers to train the sailors. So it was right at the top of the Navy, and that's why it was led by an admiral. And the admiral who ended up leading it, as I was there most of the time before I left the Navy, was at the time the highest ranking female in the Navy. Her name was Anne Rondeau. And I think she retired as a two-star admiral. But she was very kind when I worked with her. And she actually held my daughter when she was a baby, which my daughter loves to tell that story. But
Mhm.
so I worked with some, very powerful female leadership, and but she was good, and she was kind. Um, and anyway, so joining the Navy, I met different people from around the world, all different backgrounds. You know, we look different, we think different, we have different religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs. We come from different places, have different types of families, love differently, just everything. So much difference. And meeting different people and being bonded as a team, because in the Navy, or any kind of military, you really have to learn how to think like a team and live like a team. They train you that way. They want you to be a family. It's the military mindset. You take a bullet for each other, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So you really become connected and bond to the people around you. And you learn to see one another as human first. And I mean, I guess you have to be willing to. Not everybody's that way, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, the willingness was there already. I wanted to because I love humanity and I wanted to be connected to everyone. I just was limited in my perspective because I hadn't been exposed. And so, the more exposure I've had throughout my life, the more I've been able to connect to different people and get a greater understanding of humanity. And and the more of that I've been able to bring on, um, the more it's widened my perspective. And now I think in recent years, as I've worked at, as you mentioned, a university library, as also a museum and academic press, and I'm the
Mhm.
operations manager there. I've been there almost 10 years. And I'm also finishing up a master's degree in organizational dynamics. And as I'm working on all these things, I'm I'm learning now in my old age. I'm 48 years old here. Uh,
What age going?
yeah, old age. No, but I feel it. I'm getting tired. Doing too much. But getting to know myself is important too. Healing,
Mhm.
and I think it's for all of us. We need to heal our what I call shadow places. A lot of us call shadow places. Our unhealed places. Because if we don't, we carry that around and we project onto others. We hold it against others. We lash out at others, and we don't know how to forgive, and we don't know how to love, and it causes so much disruption in our lives and other people's lives, and it just makes it so hard for us to connect. It reaches out. It hurts others. So knowing ourselves, knowing who we are, healing ourselves, not by avoiding our fears, not by avoiding our darkness, but by looking at it, by holding it, by sitting with it, by integrating it. That's, I feel, so important. Um, and once we know ourselves, hold ourselves, really integrate all of it, and that's a lifelong process. It's not going to finish. We continue to grow and work through that. We can know one another better, and we can love one another better. And I think through it all, that's what I'm learning.
Hmm. I didn't know that it was going this way.
Oh,
um, yeah, I'm just thinking that, so you think that your, it's your people skills that is better through the experiences that you.
that's the surface of it, you know? I think the depth of it is more spiritual and, but it is interpersonal. It is a social yeah, it is a social skill for sure.
Mhm.
But it's
So you
also
think, do you think that, uh, do you think that now, like, or I mean, even back when we were, because I'm about the same age as you are, um, when we were younger, that people had better social skills because they were more
Mhm.
i- in each other's life, their each other's lives, like in person, not
Yeah.
so much cooped up inside and in with their own things, doing their own things.
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
So
it's a double-edged sword, as they say, right? You know, if we're
mm,
introspective and we have the time to reflect and think and all of that, then we know ourselves really well. That's good. But if we're around other people a lot and we interact with others a lot, then we're probably more skilled at talking to others. So I don't know, maybe both having a little bit of both is good.
yeah, I was thinking when you were talking that that I'm an only child. I had a lot of time by myself as a kid growing
Mhm.
up, so I had time to think about the things that I saw. So I had friends that I spent time with, but at home I was alone a lot. So I read books or I watched movies, and that was the way I traveled, kind of,
Mm.
through
Yeah.
stories, through books, and through movies that or documentaries or different things that I saw on TV.
Mhm.
And um, I was thinking that I don't know how um, I started. How do we start knowing ourselves?
Mhm.
Get to know ourselves. Like what? Like makes you think about it? Because I can't pinpoint it. That when was it? That I think it's just that you do something and you say that, hey, I like doing this, and then there's another thing that you try, and then you say, I hate this thing. It doesn't work for me. I don't want to do that. And
Yeah.
but we're not necessarily talking about um, liking gardening or reading or whatnot. Um, and um, and then also I might be jumping from one thing to the other, but I'm thinking about my own growing up. And all these women in my life, like family members and the traditions that we had. And, like wintertime is what it was like, animals around and raising
Mhm.
animals that meant that they were not for pets, but for food.
Mhm.
So you
Yep.
learned how to process
Yep.
it, the animals.
Yep.
So like I know where the egg comes from.
Yeah.
And I've seen chicken running on my grandmother's backyard or my mother's. Um, and thinking of that you get that example, like how all the generations lived, and that is also kind of the path that you are expected to follow, you know? So like when you were a kid, did you know that that was not what you wanted? Or were you okay? Or did you imagine that you were going to live your life that way? Or you always knew that you wanted to get out from there?
You know, I was a weird kid. um, I still am weird. Charlie, come here. Um, I don't know. Well, for one, I like you. I like to read a lot too. Um, I never, and I wrote. Oh my gosh, I should have said that at the beginning. I wrote. I always wrote. That's all I did. I had a tree fort out in the woods, and I spent time with my animals, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, and I wrote, and that's always been my heart and soul. I connect with nature and I write, and I had a hard time connecting with people, with making friends and things. And my brothers kind of had each other, my parents kind of had each other, and I was always kind of alone. I had a hard
Mhm.
time connecting with people, but animals and nature came very naturally to me. And I don't know, I've just always sensed patterns in everything, in systems and in nature. And I didn't know I was neurodivergent as a kid because I was never assessed or, you know, told I was or knew what it was. As I've grown up, my children are, and they've been, excuse me, diagnosed. And so I've learned this about myself too. Um,
Mhm.
but so anyway, looking back, I see, um, made me not neurotypical. And so anyway, I didn't think about, most kids might think, I want to get married, or I want to be a teacher, or I want to be an astronaut. I really didn't think that way. I saw patterns and things and connected with things and wrote about my feelings and about what I saw and about the connections. And I had notebooks and notebooks and notebooks about just who knows what. Everything. I
Mhm.
just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And I drew too, but mostly wrote. And spent time with my animals. And I would just find leaves and rocks and the smallest little creatures and study them and just look at them and trace them and fascinated by them. I don't know. And I do remember one time my father told me about astronaut Sally Ride. And I was very young, and whenever I don't remember anyway, I was very young. And that blew my mind. I know that because I was like, a woman could be an astronaut? Wow, I do remember that, because that really kinda opened my mind that I could do anything, I could be anything. Um, and so I guess I was more career oriented from the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, but even then, I've always felt, and this, oh gosh, I'm gonna say this live on air because this is gonna sound silly, but I always felt called. I always felt like I was going to do something. And it was gonna be in service of the universe, God, the light, something.
Mhm.
Um, but I didn't know what, and I didn't know how, but I needed to be patient, and I was gonna find out.
Mhm.
Um, and I've just kind of always I've prayed, I've cried, I've kind of told God, "I just want to be a tool to be used in your service." And that's really, how I've tried to live. I've tried to understand the patterns that I see, the connections that I see, and live in patience and understand myself and people and work hard and do what's right, and ended up where I ended up. I
You're a
don't
kind
know.
person.
Oh, I don't, not always, ask my kids, but I try.
'Cause I felt selfish, I think. I mean, I don't know. I knew that I wanted to do something different than what was expected of me to be like how I should live, you know. Like as the expectations were set for me, I didn't really like that, and I thought that I can think for myself. I
Well,
don't
good
need
for
like
you.
people to think for me.
Well, if
I had my
expectations are set
very
for
strong.
you,
Hmm?
mm-mm. I said if expectations are set for you, good for you for fighting it.
Uh, yeah. So, and I was thinking that I don't need other people to think for me. You know, I
Mhm.
know what I want. I feel what I want. I mean, I didn't know exactly what how my life was going to turn out. It's just that I didn't really feel that I wanted to do things for others. I just wanted to, um, I felt trapped in a sense, when I was like younger,
Mhm.
and, and I wanted to get out from that situation no matter what. So I was like always very determined that I was going to better my own life first and
Well,
then
good
live in
for
a way
you.
that and then I will be somebody. So if you read Russell Baker's Growing Up, I don't know if you read that book,
No.
that resonated with me very much. So it felt like, I saw myself, I saw my grandmother in the characters.
Mm.
I mean, at the beginning of the story, especially, it's like made me laugh out loud when I was reading it. And it was like, what, nearly 20 years ago when I
Mm.
first read that book. But um,
That's amazing, though. I hear, like, the echoes of your ancestors coming through even as you're talking, just how that determination, you say when you say what you say, just
I mean, I
yeah, I
didn't,
love that. I love that about women. I
I
love
don't
that
think
about
that
all
I
of
got
us.
very far. I mean, not in physically, yes. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know how many thousands of miles away from home.
Mhm.
And I've been living abroad, I mean, away from home for over 20 years. And it was supposed to be just 1 year.
Mm.
But, and then
Very
I didn't
independent.
know it. What?
I said you're very independent.
Yeah, I think I am. I mean, I am also very social. So like I have a lot of friends and, they are not necessarily here where I am physically, like in the same city or town or country even. And, but I have a lot of friends and I try to be a good friend, you know, and I think, um, I will say it now, but like last time we had a live with Patricia 2 weeks ago. Um, MJ was also he also joined us and he mentioned the movie. It's a Wonderful Life.
Mhm.
It's a Christmas movie that we were watching, and that reminded me of the time when I was an au pair. I was a
Mhm.
fresh new au pair, and we were in Chicago in with a family because at that point, actually, the family already moved over to the East Coast, but they had family there, so that their house, uh, the grandparents lived in the house, and we went to visit there. So we spent Christmas in Chicago, that first Christmas, 2004. And it was very different because, our traditions were like back home. It's like um, you're supposed to have a Christmas dinner, like on
Mhm.
Christmas Eve with your family, and you open presents on Christmas Eve, not Christmas morning.
Mhm.
And so that happened absolutely differently. The whole pajama thing, kids running down, and TV on, and Christmas movies on TV on, and the kids are opening their presents. So it was a different atmosphere than what I was used to. And anyhow, I remember that movie was the kid's father's favorite, and later I watched it too, and there were, and so when last 2 weeks ago, MJ mentioned the movie, it came to my mind, the one quote that I had stuck to my computer screen at work back in London, and that was the line that said, at the very end of the movie, when he opens the book and there's the line in there that no man is failure who has friends,
Mm.
and that is like, I feel it in my, in my heart because, because there was a time when I had not much else but my friends, you know.
Yeah.
And then what it means that, just to have somebody who can,
Yeah.
listen to you, or you can listen to them. You can count on each other. And it's like
Yeah.
how I mentioned that to uh, Margita, the person I had a chat with yesterday on the phone. That friends for me are like the sisters that I didn't have. You
Mhm.
know that I mean, I don't have sisters. I don't know what it is like to have siblings,
Well, it sounds like you
but
do, though. You're building your family because family can be chosen.
so that is how I feel about it. And then so I try to take care of those relationships, those friendships. And so no
Yes.
matter how much time passes, um, I try to be a good friend. And so I was thinking that actually, like people would start talking about um, New Year resolutions and what to change in the new year, or how to better your life, or I don't know, different things. But I don't want to go that direction. That I want to do. I would love to talk about, you know, um, like friendships, what they mean for us
Mhm.
um, in our lives as we are, growing up, or like as we are growing older, or like if they still hold the same place in our lives, or not, um, because for me it is important. So it is as important as family, if not more sometimes. So are you still here, or I don't know, Michelle? Your video is kind of frozen. Well, welcome, the joiners or new joiners to the live. I can see hi Martina and Anne, Andy, Carrie, and I hope it is not boring. We don't really have a script today. Um, we were going to just discuss like what is it like being a woman um, this time of the year, but we didn't really get to that. But just generally speaking about the subject. I don't know if I lost Michelle or what happened here. I'm hoping that she's going to come back. Can anybody say uh, something, please? That um, oh, I can. Hi, Michelle. Well, I can see you, but your picture is like kind of frozen. And can you hear me? Do you want me to send? Do you want me to send you an invite, like or again another invite? Join again, or hi, Patricia. So you want me to X you out, and you would want to rejoin? Yeah, because it seems that your picture. I mean, I can. If you speak, can you say something? I'm not sure if I would hear you. I X you out and I send you an invite. I can't. It's not happening. I don't know what's going on. Yes. Oh, thank you, Anne. Yes, and I cannot hit the X here. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, okay. It says that Michelle's internet connection is unstable. Let me see. Aye, aye. Okay, now let's try it again. Oh, but you are back. Oh my gosh, that's
Hi.
so good. Hi there. You were frozen a little
That's
bit.
weird. I don't know. Yeah, you froze and then I don't know what happened and then I just fell off. But I'm back.
Yeah. I need to get a tissue. Just 1 second. What?
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's
Charlie
okay. I
says
understand.
Charlie says hi everybody. Her full name is Charlotte May Rose. My daughter named her.
What is that?
Call her Charlie. I was introducing Charlie.
Oh, okay.
Gotta do proper introductions. Oh my gosh. She's aggressive with the kisses. Calm down. I love you. Calm down. She wants to be interviewed next. What's it like being a woman? Huh, Charlie?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Charlie is another woman. That doesn't sound. Or is it is it a girl?
Yeah.
The boy name? Oh
Well,
wow.
it's
Okay.
Charlotte May Rose, but she goes by Charlie.
Oh. Mm.
Isn't that right? Charlotte's
I
too
see.
long of a name.
Okay. I am back. Sorry about that. I needed to take care of my nose. Okay, so we were talking about womanhood. So, like, is it different, very different now for you, like being, that a woman in Texas than what you imagined as a kid growing up? Um, how your life would turn out? Because my life is absolutely different than what because I imagined that yes, I had my ideas, my dreams, but I imagined that I was going to live back home and
Yeah.
then when that opportunity came, I jumped on it, and then it ended up, being what it is. So, like, you imagined your life differently, or
I mean, I
or it
don't
is what you imagined was.
yeah, I don't know that I knew how it was gonna turn out, but I didn't picture Texas, I can tell you that.
Huh.
I ended up here because my husband's family lives here,
Mm,
but, I didn't expect to end up here. Um, yeah, I don't know, been here about 20 years now. My kids are 21, 20, and 14. Um,
mm,
and I'm separated now after 23 years of marriage,
mm,
and so that's been hard, but it's the right thing to do, so we're going through that. Um, and I don't know, I've been thinking about whether I should eventually move back towards New England. I miss the ocean. I miss the mountains. I miss the nature. I miss my family, of course, and, I miss some of my friends but I love the diversity down here. I love the opportunity. I love the city. I love having access to so much, um, and I don't know, I can't imagine leaving my job either. My job
I
provides
was going to ask you because now
mm,
there's a lot of things that
yeah,
that that um,
so much opportunity.
connects you to that place, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I really feel the things that we're doing through, my library are world changing and connecting, people and kind of what I've always prayed for in service
Hmm.
to God and, bringing voices forward. It's everything I've ever wanted, so I can't imagine leaving. Um, so I don't know, I gotta let life unfold, and I think that's what I've always done, and I didn't know I was doing that, but as, I'm learning that we have to let life unfold and discover it as we walk through our journey, and even if we might have plans and we think we want X, Y, and Z, life is gonna tell us otherwise. That doesn't mean give up and don't try and don't make plans, but
Right.
life is gonna happen to us whether we
Yeah.
make plans or not. So we also need to be prepared to let it happen. Oh my gosh, my dog is going nuts. Calm down, Charlie. It's okay. The the cat is over here bathing in the sun, and the dog is having a fit because she wants my attention, and if the cat gets near me, she gets very angry. So, calm down, it's okay. Um, anyway, so yeah, I ended up here in Texas, didn't expect to. I don't know if I'll end up back in New Hampshire or not, but, um, probably not, honestly, I 'cause I can't imagine leaving my job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And my family's all down here now. My kids have all of their connections and ties here. My youngest is in 8th grade, so he still has several years to go. So life
Mhm.
did not unfold the way that I saw it going. My parents have been married for 49 years. So I never thought divorce would be in my future, although I was married once before for 1 year and that did not work out. Yeah, he was in the Air Force and making bad decisions, and I was like, "Okay, I took a wrong turn. I need to get off of this, off of this, trip real fast because this is going the wrong direction." And so I was smart enough to get out of that quickly. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. I don't know, and I think, that says something about women too. Like, I think sometimes and, I'm gonna relate this to another thing. I have another blog that I'm going to write. I haven't written yet.
Mhm.
Um, Follow me here. I'm gonna take us on a little journey.
Okay.
So last night, as I'd mentioned at the beginning of this, discussion, I was at the ER with my son last night. He has the
Mhm.
flu and, "Charlie, stop it. Leave the cat alone." Sorry. Um My son has, parotitis, which is an infection of the glands in his cheeks, as a secondary thing with the flu here, and he was in the emergency room last night. We were there all night long overnight, just got home about 7:30 this morning, and while I was there, I noticed this thing, what that people do, where we all mind these invisible rules, even when we're uncomfortable. There were people there who had the arm cuffs on, the blood pressure cuffs, and they were
Mhm.
itching at their arms and stuff and uncomfortable and just sitting there in the emergency room after they've been triaged wearing them like they think they have to. They could have taken them off. You don't have to wear them the whole time you're waiting. And then I saw one woman told the lady she was waiting with, "You can take that off." And she's like, "No, I think I'm supposed to keep it on." And she's like, moving it around and stuff and trying to and she just kept it on because she thought she was supposed to, and so I encouraged her, I'm like, "No, you can take that off," and I told my son he could take his off too, and, like, they took some encouragement, and they finally took it off, and then I noticed we're all listening to Fox News as we're in there, and they're talking about all this BS, and we're just this garbage is being pumped into our ears this whole time that we're sitting there 6 hours, we're waiting in the emergency room, in the waiting room, and I'm like, there's a button right there on all the TVs. What's stopping us from changing the channel? And my son's like, "Mom, don't. We're not supposed to do that. Don't." And I'm like,
Okay.
I don't. Why not? So I get up and I change the channels on all the TVs. And I didn't see anyone complaining. Nobody said anything. So like, we don't have to sit here listening to this garbage. Like, what what's with all of these rules that we think we have to follow? These and it's why? And if they're not good rules and they're hurting us and we're uncomfortable and they're doing bad things or not good things, why are we following them? Why do we have this electric fence, this invisible fence around us telling us what to do and we're keeping ourselves? Like, what is that? I don't like that. So, I think we have to be attuned enough to hear it, to see it, to sense it, and then bold enough to push against it and change the channel, get up and do it. Be the one that makes that change. Tell others, wake them up. Say, "Hey, you don't have to be uncomfortable and wear that cuff. Take it off."
Right.
And, break the rules, change the rules, make the rules in our favor. And
Mhm.
I just think there's a lot to be said in that. And I don't know, I think that's probably one of my next blogs. I don't know. I've got so many things I want to write about, but I'm thinking about writing about that anyway. Um, and that's I don't know, one of the things about being a woman too. I think there are so many rules ingrained in society and in our minds that we
Mhm.
think we have to follow, and so much of it is automatic. We don't even know. It's programmed.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's in
Mhm.
the back of our minds, and we're like, "Well, we're just supposed to do that. That's
I
just what we
mean,
do."
this whole thing is like as we grow up, we are being taught to like behave in certain ways.
Mhm.
And I don't think that it is because I mean, like clearly I didn't only live back home when I grew up. So I lived in different places. And then one of those places was New York City, the other place was London. And those are huge cities with like very diverse population. And then, I made friends and I went to school with like people from different countries in New York. And so I met different nationalities and different culture, with people with different cultural backgrounds. And then altogether, if you think about it, yeah, there are more similarities. Like it's very easy for me to bond with Polish ladies because their culture is very similar to their cultural background or upbringing is very similar to mine. It's like physically the two countries are kind of close to each other, and they have similar mentalities,
Mm.
similar way of thinking, and so it's easy for me to make friends with them. Okay, I don't speak Polish, they don't speak Hungarian, we speak English together.
Mhm.
But and then even the food that we make, is similar, you know. So it's easy. It's very easy to bond with them. But then there are other other people, not Polish people, like even Germans or Greek or Italian. Doesn't really matter, what background. I very much love. I have a friend. She's from the Dominican Republic. Has nothing like physically. That country is very, very, very far from where I am from, and we get along really easily. That she has. I noticed that they have like very warm personality. They are very
Mhm.
kind of direct um, with people. I mean, and smiles are contagious.
Yeah,
And
oh, absolutely.
so, uh, what I noticed that there are we are yes we are different. We have different backgrounds, and people believe in different things. But we are also very similar at the same time.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
if you put just a little bit of an effort in, then you can get along with mostly anybody.
Mhm.
That's uh, my experience or my take on this. So we
I
are
love that.
behaving in a way that we are taught to. And then there were a lot of things. I mentioned to you that how at the beginning I felt like the fact that I left made me closer, made me want to hold on to certain things more
Mhm.
because I don't take it for granted anymore,
That's
those
right.
things. But then, um, where was I going with this? Um, I don't know what I was going to say. um, I don't know. But definitely, I noticed that. Oh yeah, yeah. The fact that I left um, made me hold on to those things. But at the same time, um, there was a reason why I left. I wanted to do different than what was expected from me.
Mhm.
And I mean, originally I left because there was an opportunity to see the world, to see no, I can't speak, to see the skyscrapers. That
Mm.
that was such a big deal for me because it was like unreachable. Like,
Mhm.
for me growing up, like thinking of New York City, come on, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Um, from the other side of from Eastern Europe. I mean, that's not Eastern, Central, Eastern, but it was a dream that was unreachable. And
Mm.
when I found out the opportunity, that found out the way how to do it, I wanted to do it, and then I went for it. And so that was the first time. But when I left the second time, I left because I didn't want to live. I was told, like, big fat Greek wedding, that I was expected to live my life, you know, in the normal way. Now,
Mhm.
what is normal? What was
Right.
normal for them at that point, it was not normal for me because, first of all, I never wanted to be told what I should do.
Mm.
So I was not gonna go for. either an old elderly person because the older always knew better, right? It's not
Mhm.
true. They don't always know better, in my opinion. Now, I do expect my daughter to listen to me, and I am the older one. So, but on the other hand, when I was younger, I didn't want other people to tell me how I should live my life. And
Right.
then when I was told that now you had your fun, and now it's time for you to live a normal life, just get married, have babies, like in
Mhm.
the big fat Greek wedding when the guy told his daughter to like, yes, get married, have babies. That's not that's not where I was here then.
Mhm.
I've seen different, she hasn't seen different. I've seen different. And I figured that you can live your life differently than what you are being told how to live your life.
Mhm.
And it's up to you how you want to live your life. Now, so that second time I left because I wanted to live. I felt trapped in those expectations, that I
Mhm.
didn't see that there were opportunities to be myself, you know,
Yeah.
to use the language I not I didn't master it, but the language that I became fluent on, and I didn't want to lose it. So
Yeah.
you have to use it to not
Right.
lose it.
Of course.
And then I wanted to, do things that were not available back home and definitely were not expected of me. And then because I voiced my opinion, that wasn't really, um, I didn't become very popular because
Mhm.
of it. Because I went against the grain or went against what, like the expectations. So I
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
rebelling. So basically the same thing what you were saying, that you have to break the rules. But then when you are not paying attention, it is very easy to slip back into
Oh,
that
for
old
sure. Of
habit
course
or
it
into
is.
that
Yeah.
state where you don't pay attention, you're not very conscious of your own actions, and then you are going to become the exact person who you
Well,
didn't want to
and
be.
it's exhausting because I think the system is set up to lull us to sleep so we can just become exhausted and fall back into the patterns. And it's so easy. And I mean, look, we see the social media trends of what do they call that? Uh, they're making it all cute to be a stay-at-home mom and all of that. Not that there's anything wrong with being a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I'm not saying that. I just they're idealizing something, um, in a dangerous way.
I don't really see those. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't know
there's
that was going on,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, it's oh dear. I forget what it's called now, but anyway, it's a social media trend and it's, um it's dangerous. It's telling women to give up their identities and, um, posing, feminist ideas as dangerous and calling it, Christian to do that,
Oh.
to give up your identity and everything, and I think it
I said, oh my God, and I'm not even religious. See?
yeah, it's but I think it's an extreme perspective, and I don't think there's anything wrong with having a family. I don't think there's anything wrong with being married. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad or, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of those life choices, but the way that they're positioning it is extreme, and it's telling women to give up their entire identity and fall into the system and don't ask questions, essentially. Um, and so that I have a problem with. It's like, we have to be awake, aware, asking questions and trad wives. Yeah, thank you. One of the viewers here put trad wife
Hmm.
social media trend. That's
Oh,
right. That's what I'm talking
Patricia.
about.
This is Patricia.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Thank
she
you,
is very,
Patricia.
yeah, she probably had more social, like, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
It's all over
really.
YouTube, Insta, and TikTok. Yes. And it's poison. It is. I'm sorry. It's poison. they're poisoning young people's minds, and they're making them think that this is a fun, cute, idealized thing, and, that whole "Make America Great Again" thing, like, let's go back to this ideal time, this nostalgia that never existed, this, Leave It to Beaver thing, and make this fake nuclear family world that, is this big it's pretend. It's this pretend world that they want to exist where women
Okay,
are erased.
it's let's like forget about the MAGA stuff and the religion.
No, it's just more it's
It's
the idea of erasing women, and
I y-
I don't
w-
wanna erase women. I think we need to make sure we are aware and conscious of systems, whatever they are, so that we
yes,
stay on yeah, that we stay awake and fight against the systems no matter what they are or where they reside, so that we can, um, create
just
systems that are welcoming for us. That's all.
you see the thing is that I was telling I don't know one of those bios or something that I put up either on this account or the other one that I had before this um, was that I said that I am a rebel, and that and then I think of being a rebel as a positive thing because um, I don't think that anybody now, be it a woman or a man, likes being how to put it this how to put this pressed down or put down or talked down on or being seen for less than what they are or
Mhm.
who they are or or what they can they are capable of, you know.
That's right. Yeah,
So
and see
like
what
there are
Patricia
these
said
like
here.
forget about the
Yeah.
traditions or the religion or the political um, views or what is that is there's always someone or a group of people that is thinking that it is easier for them if they control others, you know.
Sure.
So it is always about being controlled. Now it's like for women, um, it not it. I was not trying to be controlled by men. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, I was. And I was, I showed my middle finger. I said, no, nobody, you're not going to, rule over me because I considered myself equally, intelligent
Mhm.
or, and I thought that my life it's just not, I mean, yesterday I had this conversation with Margaret and we were talking about people, women, early 20th century or the 19th century that when it was normal to have for women to have like 10, 12 kids
Mhm.
during their lifetimes. 10 or 12. I mean, come on, it's mind boggling. I mean,
Mm.
and I came up with this not very nice, what is it?
Mm.
Hasonlat. I can't think of the word. Word that like animals. If you
Yeah.
grew up on a farm,
Breeding.
then yeah, and then the pigs they had like 12 or 14 piglets at a time,
Right.
and
Right.
then so the idea of me being just being that
Mhm. Yeah.
and feeding and washing and
Right.
I don't know. Uh, I am not an animal. I'm
That's
sorry.
right.
I mean, I am, but
Right.
but
But you're
not only.
intelligent and you're beyond see, and that's the whole thing. Like we are not just capable in the sense of being able to execute and endure. We're intelligent and we need to be seen as that. And that's something that, I think we struggle with so much as women is that we were overlooked and men and, some other women too, unfortunately, are so happy to overlook our
It, I
intelligence
mean,
if we allow it.
I mean, it is nice when you don't have to worry about all kinds of things. When when sometimes that pressure is being taken away from you. But if I need to, I can wear the pants you know.
Mm.
I can speak
Mm.
for myself. I can think for myself.
Yeah.
I can do things. And the funny thing is that it's most of the time, it's not the man um, in my, were not the man in my closest environment who tried to put me in a bracket or put me in a, what is it, matchbox or something to put a label on me or that I am this or I am that. But it's that when what I felt the most pressure from was from women in my life,
Yeah.
that they were trying to raise me to become somebody that I was not, never
Yeah.
was that person, where I always felt that I was more. But then at the same time, they succeeded because, like, psychologically, or I don't know what,
Mhm.
as I was getting older, I was craving the thing, you know. So I started baking. I didn't even notice. I started
Yeah.
acting that that way that I was expected to act. Not at home. I recreated the same environment
Yeah.
elsewhere, thousands of miles away, that I was originally escaping. Now, what is that if not irony? You
Yeah.
know?
Well, I see a few things there, just kind of picking up on some thoughts. For one, we talk about tradition. So I
Mm.
think part of that is probably there, that we feel comfortable in it and good in it because it's a tradition and an ancestral thing, something that's passed down. And so it feels good and familiar.
Yeah,
And so there's some of
it
that,
shows
right?
it gives
Probably.
comfort
And yeah, and I don't think
in
that
the familiarity of it.
there's balance here because some of it we don't have to reject all of it. I think some
Hmm.
of it I enjoy baking. There are some feminine things that I do enjoy doing and I don't reject all of femininity. I enjoy a lot of the softer things and the domestic things and there are a lot of things that, I crochet and I sew and I do cook. I do enjoy keeping my house up. I like to keep my house nice and, but I'm never gonna be the kind of person who just, that's my whole life. I learn, I write, I read,
Hmm.
I consider myself a scholar and I don't think I will ever stop learning. I'm considering working on my doctorate next. I work full time. I work more than full time. I work constantly. I'm a very
Hmm.
hard worker. And I expect to be seen as an intellectual and I fight for that. And I want to challenge systems. I want to change systems. So, I just think we're dynamic and it's
Bye.
nuanced. It's not one or the other. Oh, buy-in.
Thank you for
So while there are some things that we could say might maybe tradition and we accept that and they're something other things I think we might continue to do because there's a psychology there. I think sometimes we want to feel good or loved, and so we think we need to do whatever X, Y, or Z thing it is, that maybe our mother or our grandmother or somebody else did or thinks we should do, that there's pressure on us to do. Um, and, any kind of performative thing that they want us to do. Um, and so
like
we
what
may
kind of what are you
yeah,
thinking?
I mean, like, what were you saying, for instance, in your family? What kind of things do you think people would your family would want you to do or have put pressure on you as a woman?
No, they don't. They don't even try. Would pressure
Well,
me
you were just saying a minute
because
ago.
I am a hard-headed person, kind of.
Right. But what do
But
they want you to do?
um, first of all, um, there was always it to become, like there was. It's getting boring if I keep saying it, but my grandmother was like a very hard-headed person, that thinking very differently than me because she was a different generation, different background. Not religious, but like um, a very hard worker, and she always kept the house nice and neat and clean, and had her. She was, she worked as well in a factory. My grandfather was working for the Hungarian Postal Service, laying cables after the, in Budapest, the capital. So he was doing manual work, and was there during the week and came home only for the weekends. And that was, I loved it when he came home from Budapest. Uh,
Mm.
and I always wanted to spend more time with him than with my grandmother, who was very strict, and then showing me, like, I had to sit down in the kitchen and next to the kitchen table while she was like rolling out pastry and doing the cooking, and having serious talks with my mother, and I had to stay quiet and watch, and not to touch this, not to touch that, don't touch anything. And I was expected to learn and become like her,
Mm.
not like my mother. My mother never measured up, not in my views, but in her views. Um, so I was expected to become the version of my grandmother, but the problem was that I always had a different mindset.
Mhm.
So I did learn those things, and I do still see her rolling out the pastry, and I see her cutting it up. So like making linguine at home, and
Mhm.
boiling pasta, and um, like filling pastry, and doing all the cooking and baking. And so she was the etalon, as the standard, you know, that I was supposed to follow her footsteps.
Mm.
But my mindset was different. I wanted, because of the age gap, I guess. And so I wanted to follow, because certain things that I was missing at home growing up with my parents. So I did a lot of things. I followed what she taught me. But on the other hand, she had very strict um, views about how women should be and behave, and talking back was not something that was appreciated. And I did not shut up, because when I didn't, and that might be because how my parents were together, that I felt that first I was asked about my opinion about things. My mom would ask me questions, what I thought about certain things, and then when um, when I got older and I didn't like things, I wanted to do different, and because I was almost kind of encouraged back home to think for myself and
Mhm.
stand up for myself. When someone was trying to put me in my place, that felt like a restriction
Mm.
that I didn't like, because, like, how come that I can be free to think for myself and do, the boundaries that I had
Mm.
back at home as growing up as a kid were not very, because my of my parents' relationship, that was not um, very solid. I mean, it because of my dad's addiction, and there were the problems with that
Mm.
that created. Um, my mom had way too many other problems to deal with than um, to provide a very, closed off or very strict environment for me. So those boundaries that she had set for me, it were kind of easy for me to push. And
Mm.
I always try to push it. Now, she was lucky because I wasn't a bad kid.
Yeah.
But I always tried to, like, see what else can I do. And then I felt the freedom of it, and it felt accomplished when I achieved something. And and then when someone tried to, like, tell me that no, you can't do that, I didn't take it very well. So it's like, like kids that they are spoiled. I wasn't spoiled, but
No.
kids that they are spoiled, and then you tell them that you shut your mouth and go in the corner, sit down, and you are not right anyway. They're not gonna be happy about it. They're gonna
Yeah.
probably have a tantrum, right? I mean, I I didn't really have tantrums, so I don't know if I did. But this is how, like, I always try to push those walls,
Yeah.
and it made me feel good to accomplish things.
Well, so
And
I
at the
hear.
same time, uh, the restriction that I didn't
Mm,
take, so I was always rebelling. I was continuously rebelling against something that I didn't find, and I thought that I can have my own opinion. So I didn't always obey the rules.
good. Well, I hear a lot of intelligence in what you're saying. I hear your strength, and it sounds like a lot of times women, I think, are positioned as rebels or as troublemakers when really we're just inquisitive and intelligent. That was your intelligence peeking through. That was your instinct to question, and instead you were redirected to be quiet and to just listen. And sometimes that could be useful, but you were inquisitive, you had questions, you were thinking, that was your intelligence peeking through. And the same thing with, women in leadership. I think a lot of times when we have those leadership instincts, we're seen as aggressive, and that's not necessarily true. We're not being aggressive and we're not being troublemakers. We're intelligent and we're being leaders. And for men, that's naturally assumed. For women, we're seen the other
I
way.
was supposed to close my mouth, not to say anything. I
Mm,
mean, I come up with this example many times, right? Like, I mean, not many times, but I've told that like more than once that, there was this boyfriend who told me that I was going to cook every day when I was going to be his wife. He didn't ask me to marry him, but he told me to that I was going to cook every day. And I imagined my life thinking, oh my gosh, this guy thinks that he was going to be, living his bachelor life as a married man in the next city and, go playing soccer with his friends after work, coming home during the weekend. And I was supposed to be helping at home at my parents, running a household, helping his parents. I would have probably 2 or 3 kids and deal with those things and go work full time. And then he was thinking that he was gonna tell me that I was going to cook every fucking day because he told me
mm.
so. I'm like, no, nobody, no, it's not gonna happen that way.
Yeah.
And so when I said no, that didn't work out well. But I imagine my life like I am nobody's slave.
No.
It's like this is just not what I sign up for. I mean, I always thought of myself as an equal. And so
As you should.
that's what I was, like, aiming for, being an equal.
Mhm. See, when I, tell you that I've always felt like I wanted to serve humanity, I didn't mean by, being somebody's, servant
Personal
in
servant.
that way. Personal there's a difference between serving humanity and serving the universe and serving God and all of that, and just, cowering down to a broken system that is hurting people and giving up yourself, and I'm not prepared to do that. I am prepared to live in my fullness and to do the best that I can to understand who I am and to live authentically and embodied as my full self, and in that serve the world the best I can to the best of my ability. And
It's
that
like what
includes
bothers me is not, you know,
opening doors for
it's
women.
I don't have a problem being a mother, or
Mm,
I don't have an issue, keeping the house tidy
right,
or
exactly.
doing laundry,
I hear you.
taking my kid to school.
Same.
It's just that I don't wanna have I I wanna have a say that I'm not going to have 12 kids in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I don't wanna be pregnant every of the year,
Right.
right? Uh, because I am not for that,
Well,
right?
and I don't
I
think
have,
people realize what danger we're in right now. Women's rights are slipping. We've got to be very, very careful and very, very vocal.
and so what my problem is with when I feel that I am being pressured to be less than what I can be. So it's not that I am all for women or people being able to broaden their horizons, push their boundaries, try themselves, see different things, try different things to see what works for them. That is not harmful for others. And then, but at the same time, I have certain limits that, I don't want people to have a say in
Mhm.
my personal decisions. Like I want to make the
Yeah.
decisions for myself.
Well, and
So,
there's another thing too, I think that is important to touch upon. I also want to mention that I believe that I think the whole concept of feminine and masculine is not necessarily embodied in the female or male body. I think that it's a spiritual concept and it's not necessarily gendered by sex. So I have feminine and masculine qualities, and I think everybody
everybody know.
it does.
I
That's
think so.
right. Yeah. So I just want to make sure to make that clear. I
Mhm.
think that's a spectrum, and we all fall somewhere on the masculine, feminine spectrum. And that's why I think we see some women who work against their own best interest because they are not working for, femininity. They are actually
But see, the thing
working.
is that I just because
For
I don't
men.
know how other women think. I know how I think, and
Mhm.
I was always very proud that I could do things that were not expected of me to be done. Like I could do certain chores that men can do. It's not that I want to do those things, but I was tired of asking for help. And then when I did something that was not expected of me, I was proud of myself for those things. Now, it doesn't mean that I want to replace men. I want to,
Right.
I don't know, change oil in my car or change a tire
Not
if I
hard.
don't have to, you know, like or whatever, things around the house that would need to be done or could, normally when you would say that it's a man's job. I'm very happy for a man to do those things. It doesn't mean that I can't do those. So I'm not a helpless. What is it? Tinkle bell, or I don't know what the little. I don't know what is the expression. What is the word for those kind of women? That I'm not a helpless like little
Mm.
woman with. I don't want to stereotype, but I am not worried that my nail polish is gonna break off my nail or my fake nail because I don't have fake nails. I don't. So it's like I have nail polish, but I just never you tend to use those. So it's like I can do things as a woman that they would be considered the man's job. It doesn't necessarily mean that I want to do those things, you know. And
Everybody's different.
while some of those things can make me feel proud of myself, and then I can feel like independent that I don't need a man to change my tires, or
Mm-mm.
whatever. Um, at the same time, it doesn't mean that I want to do those things.
Mm.
So it's I accept that I don't know how to say this. I accept that there are these roles, different roles, and it's easy to fall back on, uh, like it's kind of more comfortable. Like I deal with a household, and you do those things outside because you know man's work around the house would be more like outside, right? I mean, that's what I saw my grandfather doing. chopping up wood
I don't
outside,
know. I
or
guess if
fixing the fence, or those things. That I can do those things, but I am happy for them to do those things, right?
if we're conscious and aware and we're intelligently making decisions and we know what those decisions are and why we're making them and we're happy with them, then that's fine. The whole thing is awareness and choice, agency.
Right.
Agency and uh what do you call it? Just making the choice, having the what do you call it? Oh my god, I can't
Out,
think of the word.
authority. No, having
Yeah,
the
well,
authority
yeah,
to do
that's
things
the
for
word
yourself.
essentially. There's a gosh, I hate it when you're on a live. See, this is why I like to write because when I write, you have the time to think of every word that you want. It's hard when you're on the spot and you can't think of the right word. But anyway, yeah, it all boils down to um just being able to make the right choices for yourself, having that agency. And if you are awake and aware and making the choices and you're happy, and then so be it. Do what you want to do. It's just when people are unaware that they have choices and they're doing things because they think it's what they have to do. It's because they're a man or they're a
Do you
woman.
think that a lot of women are unaware of their choice or their
Oh, painfully,
um,
painfully, and I think they're miserable because of it. I think they think, "I live in this system, and I am in this body, and I have to do this thing, and live this way because that's what's prescribed." And I think a lot especially in small towns, they have no idea. They have no idea that there is another way, that's not presented to them. And so they don't have agency, they don't know who they are, they don't I mean, they know who they are on some level, of course, but, they're just kind of brainwashed in a way. It's there's comfort, because there's family, and there's a sense of God because there's, whatever church or community they have, and then their own personal connections. But the real authenticity that comes from the freedom of choice, of that real agency when you're not told stories, when you can freely choose what to do, who to be, how to be, who gets to do what, that's all taken, when you're told through story that this is how the culture is and this is how it has to be and you cannot look outside this box. People, they don't know better for the most part in a lot of
but
places.
then I would think because uh, because of my, like what I had as a kid, like as a family background, that I always saw very different things in my family members' lives than what I saw at home. So I always knew that there was a different life, or my friend's life that was different than mine. Because, you know, I mean, I had a classmate and they had a two-story house. And when we were sick in school, then when she was sick, we lived close by. And she lived at the end of our street. And so what happened, it's not going this way here, that when she missed school, I went and brought the homework for her from school for the day. So I
Mm,
told her, this is what we were going through this today from math. This is what we did on geography or history. And then you need to do this and this exercise in this exercise book, or you need to read these pages from the history book, and then every day I would go over and bring her the homework, or she was going to bring the homework for me when I was sick. And and so I went into their house, and they had this two-story house, and they had a phone in the house that was like connecting the kitchen with the upstairs bedroom.
oh my word.
So like when the dinner was ready, their mother would, lift up the phone, it would ring up in the bedroom
Mhm.
and tell them that, the dinner is ready, you can come and eat. And it was just such a luxury that that I was like awestruck or whatever that is called.
Yeah.
Like, what is the? I mean, I knew what it was, but it was like nowhere near in my life. So I saw things in my classmates' life, in my friends' life, in my family members' life, that they were like very different to what I had at home.
Mhm.
So that gave me different perspectives. And then so that's why I would think that if there is just one way that you see, maybe that is not logical. But if there's just one way of life that you see, that it cannot be that conformed, that same for
Mhm.
everybody, even if it is um the same culture background, same, you know, traditional lifestyle in a small village, of people, the same religion, they go to church together, whatever. It's like their lives must be different because their personalities are different. Their home lives must be somewhat different. And then for that, it must tickle those kids' curiosity.
Mhm.
I would think. But so it is for me, it's like mind boggling to think that people would just accept it, that this is how you're supposed to live, and do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to not to rebel, because for me the natural idea is that to go and try other things, to new things,
Mhm.
because there's no way that this is the only way, and
Yeah.
that other thing that seems exciting. So, and I would think that every kid has this kind of curiosity in them, and they want to, you know,
Yeah, but that's not true, I think. I think for a
I
lot of
don't know.
people.
I would think.
Yeah, and I thought of the word I was trying to think of. It's consent. And I think consent is implied in a lot of systems and a lot of cultures where that we grow up thinking that we've given our consent to comply with the rules around us because we don't know better. We think we have to, that the rules that we live by, the norms, all the normal things that we do are just the ways that we think we have to carry out our lives. And so we do all the normal things, all the things that are systemic, that are just traditional, are yeah, the normal things that seem normal to us, whether they're actually normal or not. And we do them. And a lot of people don't question them. And I'm sure there are things even in your life, even in my life, that if I really stopped to think about it, I would say, well, wait, why am I doing that? And then I think, well, I've always done it that way. Well, but why? And then you can stop and start to change that, start to question that. And there, and here in America, maybe in other places, certainly, I'm sure, a lot of it probably has to do with money. Companies are profiting off of us for, certain habits and stuff, but it's become ingrained as a part
Well,
of our
sometimes it
lives.
makes sense to do certain things in one
Yeah.
way. Or so sometimes that is the walked path, that actually the way that works. It doesn't mean that that is the only way, but
Yeah.
the way that works
I mean,
for
if for
giving
your
the result that
grandmother
you want.
Your
Mhm.
grandmother and the way that she rolled pastry, for instance, I'm sure that there's a way and a
This
method
is
she does it
pretty
that
much
makes
the same
sense.
the way the Italians do the pastry,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
sure.
Spanish people in
So
Spain.
that's something that's rich in tradition that makes sense, and there's a reason she does it, and it works, and, you know, that's something that makes sense. That's not something that I would guess.
So
Um,
sometimes there's the logical thing, yeah.
yeah,
Or yeah.
exactly. But there are other things ingrained within us that are kind of nonsensical, that are rules made by someone else to keep us in our place.
Mhm.
And we're asleep. It's hard to even notice them. They're
No, that's what I
subliminal.
was saying. That once you, I mean, I noticed that in my own life that I fell into a routine,
Mhm.
and then I was like, so is this my whole life now? So, like
Mm.
this routine, and this is so, like, is there not, I don't know if it might be because of my age, like I'm getting older, but um there is is this all that I am here for,
Yeah.
to do this? Or is there something else that because I wanted to, like, I always wanted to achieve something.
Mhm.
So it's not that you want to serve other people. It's like I I want to be useful.
Now you're doing it right now. You're being useful.
Hopefully. But that was my, like, I subconsciously started acting
Mm.
the exact way that how it was expected of me growing up.
Mhm.
And it took me, I don't know, it was a few years ago. It took me someone just making a statement, um, to me to realize that, like a certain amount of time passed. And I started thinking, okay, so what can I show for this time?
Mm.
What did I do during this time? And so it is. I definitely didn't expect that because I expected myself to always be somewhere else, somewhere different, not physically, um, somewhere different than what was expected of me, and not to conform, to those rules, to those
Mhm.
lifestyles. And if you look into my life right now, it is a very Hungarian life that I lead here. I
Mm.
cook Hungarian meals.
Mhm.
I speak the language. I follow Hungarian traditions. For
Mm.
Christmas, if I bake the Hungarian things.
Mm. It's still part of your spirit.
So, I mean, but that's not only me. I don't think it is only me. And it is not necessarily just a woman thing.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't really matter how much you try to escape
Yeah.
certain things and ways. You're going to fall back to it because you carry it in your genes,
Yeah.
kind of. So it's not necessarily, yes, that you can figure, that the Spanish and the Italian do the pastry the same way. Italian sausages are pretty much like the Hungarian sausages. When you
Yeah.
cook them, they taste very similar. And and when you look at those cooking shows, documentaries, that you can see that the process they are following are the same. So basically, you see that doesn't matter if you're Hungarian or Italian or Spanish or what, that you are going to do the same things that your great grandparents did, and they are
Mhm.
doing the same things that they did, and then it is like doesn't matter how far
Yep.
they are from each other. It's pretty much the same thing because for the pasta you
Yeah.
always have to have flour, water, and salt. Mix
Doesn't matter
together
how
and
far you
then
go,
you
you
add
can't escape
egg. What?
yourself. It doesn't matter how
Huh?
far away you go, you can't escape yourself.
This is how the Italians put it together. This is how the Hungarians put it together. And for the pasta, you always have the same ingredient. Doesn't matter where you are and what language you speak.
Mhm.
So, and if you want to make the pasta, you're going to do it. And then I have the same movements I saw my grandmother doing, the rolling out the pastry. Because I
Mm.
didn't want to learn it, I did learn it. And then if I do the pastry, I do the same thing.
Yep.
It comes out of my,
Of
it's
course.
like drawing, that if you have any talent for drawing, and if then you got it from somewhere, some of your
Yeah.
ancestors
Oh, yeah.
were good at it. And so those movements,
Mhm.
those are not necessarily yours alone.
That's
The
right.
talent that is coming from somewhere.
That artistic talent, yeah, comes down
So
to
So it, but it doesn't have to be art. It can be cooking. It could be just general, everyday, any day, everyday things.
Mhm.
In my opinion. So That was for me. That was like when I was in England, and I don't know how long we have been going. Probably like an hour, almost two now.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking I better get going here soon.
Um, but when I was in England, I was watching these cooking shows. I noticed that the similarities, and like a few years ago, I was on Facebook. There was this uh, group of, I think they were called pasta grannies,
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
and so they were making pasta, like Italian, traditional Italian pasta, different part of Italy. And I liked following, and then following them or seeing those recipes. And I was like, yeah, it's exactly like my grandmother did it. So this is how I noticed, other than by physically meeting other people and different cultures, like different cities uh, where I lived, um, that how similar we all are,
Mhm,
like we fall back on the same habits and traditions. And I mean,
mhm.
there are, I don't even know how many types of mm, churches here in the US. I mean, I thought that there were like three growing up. I'm not religious, so I don't, but the tradition, and then some schooling. Like, I don't know that there were the Lutherans, there were the Catholics, and there is one more. I don't ask me. That's what I thought. And then I came here, and then they are like million times of
Oh,
types of
yeah.
different churches, and
Many,
some of
many,
them they
many.
have no towers, and some of them they are wood, some of them are like flat buildings. I mean, some churches are converted to homes. It's like um, it doesn't matter really. Um, I learned that how like where we're coming. I see that you're doggy, where we're coming from, but we are pretty much, if we spend some time with each other, we are pretty much the same people.
That's right.
That's what I notice. And then also, like, doesn't matter how far I want to go, and again, not in physical distance. I always fall back if I'm not conscious about it. I fall back onto those habits and um, traditions and roles.
Yeah.
So I was curious. Originally, I was curious, like I thought that maybe we were going to talk about different places you visited, or different, and then you found interesting, there, like what you saw was different to what you were used to, and then maybe having have Christmas in Texas, how it is different than the Christmases that you had back up in North when you were growing up. I didn't think we were going to go this direction. Um,
You never know.
yeah, we never know, but it was. Um, I enjoyed this conversation,
Yes, I did
and
too.
I am, maybe we can have another one about something
Sure.
else another time.
Yes, and it won't be chaotic. I just, I've gotten 3 hours of sleep, but last night was a little wild, so sorry about that, but it was little tough start, but I think this conversation's been wonderful. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
I enjoyed talking with you as well, and I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time, especially
No,
as
not
you
at all. This
spend
has been
very
great.
little time sleeping after. Are you going back? Is he still in the he's still in the hospital, right?
No, no, we
No, he
got
is
home
back
at
home.
7:30 this morning.
Oh, yeah, he came home too.
Yes, yeah, he came home
Okay.
too. So he's just on some medication and they say
Oh,
he'll get
okay, that's
better.
good.
So, yeah, it's just
Mm,
never seen a flu like this before. It's a little some side complications here, but
mm.
he'll be all right.
I hope you're going to be all well.
Yeah, thank
And do
you.
you have some plans for the new year, or New Year's Eve, or like next week or the end of this year?
We'll see if we wanted to go over to my brother-in-law's house. They have a beautiful home. My sister-in-law's immigration attorney and she's awesome. I love her.
Okay.
And he has his own practice. He's a doctor and neck and jaw specialist, which is funny. My son's having neck and jaw problems, but
Okay.
so we might go over there if everyone's healthy. But I don't know if we're gonna be healthy enough to do that. So we might just have a quiet New Year's here.
Hmm.
But I love being home anyway, and usually, excuse me,
Hmm.
I work so much, and I'm 3 classes away from graduating with my master's degree. So I'm so busy with work and school on a regular basis. I do not get much time to spend at home. I'm really just enjoying the time at home. Stop! My dog is being so needy. Um, so if I get a little bit of extra time to think and sleep and write, that would be perfectly fine with me.
I see that you have like a lot of subscribers now. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really follow how many subscribers people normally have, but I think last time when I saw it, you were somewhere around 300. Now you're up nearing 500 subscribers. So you must be doing something really good there.
Oh, thank you. I
So
appreciate the
I
encouragement.
try to, I know that you always tricked me at the beginning with your writing that it was going to be something cute or I don't know. And then there was always a twist in your story. There's something to learn from it. So I haven't been um too good at like reading everybody's posts um lately. Unfortunately, I should get back to I should spend more time reading than writing, I guess. But I do enjoy this conversation, and I'm really happy that you took the time to spend it with me, even with that very little sleep and with what happened with your son. I hope that he will recover very soon,
Oh, thank
and
you.
and then I hope that we were able to give different perspectives and push those horizons a little bit uh, wider today with this chat, um, and that there was some kind of positive thing that we could take away from it. So because that's what I hope for with these conversations, that to learn something new about each other, about the environments that we are in. I mean, last time with Patricia, we were talking about you know, life over there, and that's in Sweden. We're discussing, Polish things, or I mentioned my Hungarian background, or we were talking about the American things as we see it with our European eyes. So I was very much looking forward to having your perspective on things because you see we see similar things, but at the same time we see them differently as
Mhm.
well. So it all depends on our upbringing and our own dreams and goals as well. I think um, what we see in our environments. So thank you again for joining me. I enjoyed it, and I hope that we can chat again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And have a nice weekend. It's unbelievable. It is only Saturday,
I
so
know,
it's like
right? Well, I hope you enjoy
like
your New Year's too.
what?
Do you have big plans for your New Year's?
No, no, no. No. We are staying home.
Well,
Um,
good. That'll
I
be
don't know.
nice.
I might be reading a book. I
Yes,
don't know,
sounds
but actually, uh, we have a post coming up by Emma wrote a post for Women's Perspective for next week. That's going to be posted on or published on Wednesday. And we're going to have a live next weekend with her, which is like a week from today. Um, I think Emma is here. Are you still here, Emma? I think I saw her joining at the very beginning. And yes, and yeah, and she said that we lose depth in the tech connected world. And she was driving, yeah, at the beginning, remember?
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
she
saw
was
that.
driving as well. She was listening. So, um, we are going to have a live, which is going to be also different because she's a different person. She's like, so it's like you don't want to hear from me all the time because I can get boring. But it's like all these different people uh, giving us different views on different ideas.
That'll be
So
interesting.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm hoping for, that this through these lives we can have these little trips through
Mhm.
time and places. So I thank you for your contribution. And I very much suggest, like, I mean, I recommend if anybody who doesn't know Michelle yet, that to check out her publication. You have some music as well, and
Mhm.
poetry, and some essays there too. I don't know how she manages doing this, but she does a lot, right?
I
So
do.
enjoy your get some rest and get
Yes, I think
well, and
coffee is next.
coffee. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and thank you everybody for joining us. And
Thank you.
I'm very happy that we managed to do this. Thank you, and talk
Bye.
soon.
Talk
Yes.
soon.
Yes. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.